The Awakening, a journey beyond the veil. Eleanor had always felt that there was something more, something just beyond the reach of her senses. Like a whisper in the wind or a shadow in the corner of her vision. As a child, she would wake up in the middle of the night, sensing an unseen presence around her. It was not fear that kept her awake, but an inexplicable pull. As if the universe itself was calling her name. As she grew older, the sensations faded, buried beneath the weight of everyday life. Career, relationships, and responsibilities drowned out the quiet voice within her. But then, on the eve of her 33rd birthday, everything changed. A recurring dream began haunting her nights, one filled with symbols she couldn't understand. Voices speaking in an ancient tongue, and a brilliant light that seemed to come from within her own chest. Desperate for answers, Eleanor sought out books on spirituality, meditation, and the experiences of mystics throughout history. The more she read, the more she felt that her dreams were not mere illusions but messages, pieces of a puzzle waiting to be assembled. And then, the signs started appearing in her waking life. Numbers repeating wherever she looked. Strangers uttering words that felt like echoes of her dreams. A feeling of déjà vu so intense it sent shivers down her spine. One evening, she decided to surrender, sitting in the dim glow of candlelight. She closed her eyes and whispered a simple plea. If there is something I am meant to know, show me. At that moment, the air in the room grew thick, electric, a warmth spread through her chest. And for the first time in years, she felt something she could not explain, something profound. And so began Eleanor's journey into the unknown, a path that would lead her to truths hidden beyond the veil of ordinary perception. The signs and the seeker. Eleanor sat in silence, her hands resting gently on her lap, eyes closed, as she tried to quiet the storm of thoughts swirling within her mind. The dim candlelight flickered before her, casting soft, dancing shadows against the walls of her small apartment. The air was thick with the scent of sandalwood incense, a fragrance she had chosen intuitively, though she couldn't explain why. For the past few weeks, an unshakable feeling had settled within her, a whisper in the depths of her soul, telling her that something was about to change. She had felt its presence growing stronger, manifesting in ways she could not ignore. At first, it was subtle. She began noticing repeating numbers on the clock. When she checked her phone in the middle of the night, on street signs, receipts, and random license plates, it was as if the universe was trying to communicate with her, sending her cryptic messages that she didn't yet understand. Then came the dreams, vivid, haunting, and strangely familiar. Each night, she found herself wandering through an ancient temple, its stone walls covered in symbols she had never seen before, yet somehow recognized. A soft voice, neither male nor female, called her name, urging her to remember, though what she was meant to recall remained elusive. One evening, after yet another dream that left her waking in a cold sweat, she decided to go for a walk to clear her mind. The city streets were quiet, bathed in the warm glow of streetlights. A cool breeze brushed against her skin as she moved with no destination in mind, letting her feet guide her. She wasn't sure how long she had been walking when she suddenly stopped in front of a small bookstore she had never noticed before. Its wooden sign, worn with age, read, "The Hidden Path." Something inside her stirred. The name alone felt significant, as if it had been waiting for her all along. Taking a deep breath, she reached for the door handle. The moment her fingers made contact with the cool metal, a strange sensation rippled through her, an odd mix of familiarity and anticipation. Like the moment before a long-forgotten memory resurfaces. A soft chime rang as she stepped inside. The scent of aged paper, sandalwood, and something faintly floral greeted her. The interior was dimly lit, shelves upon shelves of old books stretching toward the ceiling, their spines worn from years of handling. It felt less like a store and more like a hidden sanctuary for forgotten knowledge. Behind the counter stood an elderly man, his presence both warm and enigmatic. His deep-set eyes held the weight of countless stories, as if he had seen more than any ordinary man should. He regarded her with a knowing expression, a slight smile tugging at the corners of his lips. "You've come," he said simply. Eleanor hesitated. "Excuse me?" The man chuckled softly. "You've been searching, haven't you?" He gestured toward the shelves. "And the answers have been searching for you." She felt a chill run down her spine, but not out of fear, out of recognition. She had never met this man before. Yet his words resonated with a truth she couldn't explain. Uncertain of how to respond, she let her gaze drift across the bookshelves, drawn to their silent mystery. As she moved deeper into the store, she let her fingers trace along the spines of the books, feeling their energy, as if one of them was calling to her. Then she saw it, a leather-bound volume, thicker than the others, its cover devoid of a title but embossed with an intricate, ancient symbol. She reached for it, and the moment her fingertips brushed against the leather, a wave of warmth surged through her, a pulse of something unseen, yet undeniably real. She turned back to the man. "This one." He nodded approvingly. "A good choice." There was something about the way he said it, as if he had expected her to pick that exact book. "But be warned," he continued, his voice lower now, more serious. "This is not just a book. It is a key." "A key to what?" she asked, gripping the volume tighter. His gaze bore into hers. "To remembering." The word sent a shiver through her. Remembering what? Despite the unease curling in her stomach, she paid for the book and left the shop. As she stepped onto the sidewalk, she felt as though she had crossed an invisible threshold, one she couldn't turn back from. That night, she sat in the dim glow of her bedside lamp, the book resting in her lap. Her fingers traced the embossed symbol on its cover, its meaning still unknown to her. Taking a deep breath, she opened it. The first page contained only a single sentence, written in flowing, ancient script. The truth was never lost, it was only hidden, waiting for you to see. Her breath caught. Slowly, she turned the page. The journey had truly begun. The path of unveiling. The moment Eleanor turned the page, a sudden gust of wind blew through her small apartment. Even though the windows were shut, the candle beside her flickered wildly, casting long, twisting shadows along the walls. She hesitated, her heart pounding. Something was different about this book. She could feel it. The air around her seemed charged, as if an invisible presence had awakened. The second page was filled with unfamiliar symbols, their curves and edges flowing together in an intricate dance. She ran her fingers over them, feeling their depth, as if they had been carved rather than inked onto the paper. Then, beneath the symbols, she saw words she could understand. To seek the truth, you must first unlearn the lies. A shiver ran down her spine. Unlearn the lies? What lies? She turned another page, her fingers trembling slightly. This time, the text was clearer, forming a passage that seemed to call to her very soul. Before the world shaped you, before you were told who to be, there was a knowing inside you, a memory older than time, buried beneath fear and doubt. Seek within, and you shall find it. Eleanor exhaled slowly. The words resonated deep within her, like an echo from another life. That night, sleep did not come easily. When she finally drifted off, the dreams returned, only this time they were sharper, more vivid. She stood once again in the ancient temple, the scent of burning incense thick in the air. The massive stone pillars around her bore the same symbols as the ones in the book. A soft glow emanated from the walls, as if the temple itself was alive, breathing in sync with the universe. Then, she heard the voice. "You are ready to remember." Eleanor turned, but there was no one there. Yet the presence was undeniable, wrapping around her like an unseen force. Suddenly, the ground beneath her trembled. The walls shimmered, and the temple seemed to dissolve into golden light. She felt weightless, as if she was being pulled beyond the limits of her own mind, into a space where time did not exist. And then, she saw it. A vision, a young woman dressed in flowing white robes, standing by a river, sunlight dancing on the water's surface. Her features were eerily familiar, yet Eleanor couldn't place her. The woman knelt, cupping water in her hands, then turned to look directly at Eleanor. "Remember," she whispered. Eleanor jolted awake, gasping for breath. Sweat clung to her skin, her heart racing. The dream had felt so real, as if she had truly been there. She sat up, running a hand through her hair, trying to steady herself. Then, her eyes fell on the book, still lying open beside her. But something was different. The pages that had been blank before were now filled with words. Impossible. She picked up the book with shaking hands, scanning the text. It spoke of an ancient path, one that had been walked by seekers for thousands of years. A path of awakening. The words described a process that felt eerily similar to what she had been experiencing. The call, the moment when one begins to feel that there is something more. An unseen truth waiting to be uncovered. The purge, a phase where illusions fall away, where everything one thought to be true is questioned. The remembering, a return to the knowledge buried within, a reconnection with the divine self. Eleanor's mind raced. Was this what was happening to her? And if so, what was she supposed to do next? The answer came sooner than expected. The pages of the book seemed endless, each one revealing fragments of a forgotten truth. Eleanor read deep into the night, her eyes moving hungrily over the ancient words. Every passage felt like a key unlocking something long buried within her. The book spoke of the Great Forgetting, a time when humanity drifted away from its divine origin, losing the direct connection to the source. It explained how layers of illusion had been placed upon the world, clouding people's understanding of who they truly were. To awaken is to strip away what was never yours. To see beyond the veil is to remember your essence. Eleanor closed her eyes, letting the words sink in. Was this what she had been experiencing? The feeling of something shifting, breaking open inside her? She thought back to the dream, the temple, the woman, the whispered message. Remember. A sudden realization hit her. The woman in the dream, it was her. Not as she was now, but as she had been before. In another life, in another time. Her breath caught in her throat. The visions, the dreams, the strange familiarity of the book, it all made sense now. She wasn't just learning this knowledge. She was remembering it. The final tester knock at the door startled her from her thoughts. Eleanor hesitated before opening it. The old man from the hidden path stood outside, his eyes twinkling with quiet amusement. "You're ready," he said simply. She nodded, though she wasn't entirely sure what she was ready for. "Come," he said, "there's one last thing you must see." Eleanor followed him through the silent streets. The city bathed in the golden glow of streetlights. Yet, something felt surreal, as if she were walking between two worlds, one foot in the familiar, the other in the unknown. They arrived at a place she didn't recognize. A small courtyard, with a single stone arch standing at its center. The air felt charged, humming with an energy she could not explain. The old man turned to her. "Step through." Eleanor hesitated. "What's on the other side?" He smiled. "The truth you seek." A deep breath. Then, she stepped forward. The moment she crossed the threshold, everything changed. The city faded, dissolving like mist in the morning sun. The sky above shifted into endless gold. And beneath her feet, the ground became soft, almost luminous. She was standing in the temple from her dreams. But this time, it was real. The return to knowing. A figure emerged from the shadows, herself. Yet not herself, the woman from her visions. "You have come far," the other Eleanor said, her voice filled with warmth. "But now, you must choose." "Choose what?" Eleanor asked, her voice barely above a whisper. To remember, or to forget once more. The weight of the choice pressed upon her. If she chose to remember, her life would never be the same. The illusions of the world would fall away, and she would see everything, herself, existence, the universe, for what it truly was. But if she chose to forget, she could return to her old life, back to comfort, back to ignorance. Her heart already knew the answer. "I choose to remember." The other Eleanor smiled. "Then you are free." Light erupted around her, flooding her vision, filling her with warmth. The final veil lifted, and she knew who she was, knew why she had been drawn to the book, knew that the journey was never about learning something new, only about remembering what had been hers all along. When the light faded, she was back in her apartment. The book lay before her, but the pages were now blank. She didn't need them anymore. The knowledge was within her now, and she was finally awake.